Hello and welcome to South Carolina's episode of American Farm Bureau Voices of Agriculture. I'm your host, Reggie Hall. We're coming to you today from the Columbia State Farmers Market, right in the heart of South Carolina, one of the larger markets in the southeast. We'll talk to market manager David Tompkins in just a moment. But we also want to talk to you about picnics and outdoor tailgating. It's a great time of year for that. Fresh produce is available from all around your state. Wherever you happen to be, you can go to your farmers markets or local markets to find that great fresh produce for those tailgating or picnic opportunities. And of course, no tailgate or picnic would be complete without great sweet southern iced tea. South Carolina lays claim to the nation's only tea plantation, located in Charleston, South Carolina, along the coast. We'll go visit the plantation in just a moment and talk to tea taster Bill Hall, one of the proprietors of that plantation, find out about producing tea in America. That coming up in just a moment.
There's nothing fresher, nothing finer than locally grown fruits and vegetables. They're tastier, sweeter, healthier, and most of us would agree they're better. That's why your South Carolina Department of Agriculture is working to make certified South Carolina grown produce and products available in stores in your neighborhood. As for South Carolina, nothing's fresher, nothing's finer.
My roots are in the soil, and I love being involved in agriculture. I really love it. I think it's something that you take with you, because what we're doing here, this is the only tea plantation in America. It's not often you get to do something no one else has ever done. And then to also be in the agricultural side of it, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Tea has opened the door for Bill Hall to travel the world as he's worked on many levels within the international tea industry. But for Bill, the world's not such a large place to begin with. He's of English ancestry by way of Canada, working on Wadmalaw Island on South Carolina's coast, just outside Charleston.
Being in the tea industry has been great because it's given me the opportunity to travel all over the world. I've been to South America, Africa, Asia, Japan. Everywhere tea is being grown, I've been there to visit and see what they're doing over there. So tea has been great as far as being able to travel the world and see different places and learn different cultures and how some countries produce tea and other countries produce tea. So what I have is accumulation of all this tea knowledge and tea tasting to put to work here at the Charleston Tea Plantation.
Bill now calls Charleston home, and has since he and a partner bought the Charleston Tea Plantation from the Thomas J. Lipton Company in 1987. After a 16-year run, a difference of opinions, and financial stress, Bill and his partner put the plantation on the auction block in 2003. Each partner came to the auction with his own financial backers. Bill with American family-owned operated R.C. Bigelow Tea Company, who successfully acquired the plantation. Bigelow got a deal when they partnered with Hall. Not only did they have a partner with 16 years working knowledge of that plantation, their new partner is also a third-generation world-class tea taster. That's right, a tea taster. Few realize that tea, very much like wine, is a complex beverage of aromas, colors, and tastes that are often subtle and hard to define.
In fact, tea is much more complicated than wine or coffee or other products. Insofar as with wine, the grapes are grown once a year. They're all harvested at the same time, processed at the same time, and you have a set quality. You either had a good year, bad year, and different year. But tea is growing every 18 to 20 days. So the quality is constantly fluctuating. Too much rain, not enough rain, too hot, too cold, and all influence the flavor of the tea. So after each day, I taste the tea and I allocate it into one of about 6 storage bins based on that day's quality. And then when I want to put American Classic tea together, our blend, I choose so much from each one to maintain a constant quality throughout the year, even though I'm getting peaks and valleys from each day's production.
During Hall's 4-year tea tasting apprenticeship in London, he tasted between 800 and 1,000 cups of tea a day. As a farmer, Hall knows the importance of change and of adding value to the farm.
The farmer has a tough job, but you have to look in a farmer as how can you add value to your farm. And what we've done here is a prime example with the tourism. So we're supplementing the growing of tea with tourism and making it an interesting and educational thing. So farmers have to, I believe, look for niches to do that and think of other ways to make it worthwhile.
Bill will tell us how they harvest, process, and package their commodity when we return in just a moment.
There's nothing fresher, nothing finer than locally grown fruits and vegetables. They're tastier, sweeter, healthier, and most of us would agree they're better. That's why your South Carolina Department of Agriculture is working to make certified South Carolina grown produce and products available in stores in your neighborhood. As per South Carolina, nothing's fresher, nothing's finer.
We'll get back to Charleston and learn more about the tea plantation in just a moment, but we want to take an opportunity to learn more about the Columbia State Farmers Market and talk to Director David Tompkins. Thanks for joining us today, and glad you could help us arrange all of our picnic items today.
Well, we appreciate you being here because we like to talk about our market. It's a good place. Been here a long time, and it's a very active market.
It does a lot of business, and I think a lot more than the average consumer, even in South Carolina, would understand.
Yeah, because we're primarily a wholesale market. A lot of people think of a retail farmers market. We're the market that supplies so many other people. And we have buyers coming in here from really all over the southeast and up and on the eastern seaboard.
Right.
So it's not unusual to see people in here from West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee. They're big customers of ours.
And produce is sold that's not grown in South Carolina through here. It moves through here to other places as well.
We operate year round. Okay. Of course, we don't produce much in South Carolina during January and February, but we have full line wholesalers here that are bringing in from wherever it's growing. And so it still supplies restaurants, institutional food places, small independent grocers. Those are the people who come in here and buy from us.
That's great. And of course, you also welcome the home consumer or the housewife or the homemaker that's coming in and looking for their fresh produce.
I mean, if you look behind us right here, you can see an abundance of things for people to buy and come in and buy, actually buy small quantities. Most is sold large scale here, about a bushel, about a 25-pound box. But we have vendors who break it down and sell smaller portions as well.
Good deal. Yeah. Well, we want to invite you to help join our picnic today. And thank you for coming and being on Voices of Agriculture. So here's your plate. We fixed it up for you with some great South Carolina chicken and Adloo flour biscuits and coleslaw made from our greens and green beans here too that we got from the Columbia Farmers Market.
Good old basic iced tea.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you being here, and thanks for the Columbia Farmers Market for inviting us to host our show from here today. As we promised, we're going to take you back to Charleston to learn a little bit more about the nation's only tea plantation. Before the break, Charleston Tea Plantation proprietor Bill Hall was talking about the need to add value to the farm, something that Charleston Tea Plantation has done in recent years through agritourism.
We have a tourway that they walk through the factory and actually see the equipment or see tea being made, and then we have a gift shop, we have a trolley ride that you can take around the farm and learn the horticultural side of it. So we're building on the tourism side, and the tourism is actually helping subsidize the farm work to allow us to be more competitive in price, etc., etc. So it's a win-win situation.
Bigelow Incorporated and partner Bill Hall make their American Classic tea from plants imported to South Carolina's Middleton Plantation, dating back to the turn of the 19th century. About 320 varieties of Camellia sinensis, related to the beautiful flowering camellia plant we love so much here in the South, are planted in neatly trimmed hedgerows on the 127-acre farm. One of the best attributes of tea plantation farming is that it is highly environmental friendly.
Number one, we don't use any insecticides or fungicides on the tea. When weeds grow up, we hand pull the weeds before we harvest. We don't till the soil. Once the tea plants are in the ground, they're good for hundreds of years, so there's no tilling of the soil or erosion of the topsoil. And we're putting out 5,200 oxygen-producing plants per acre. So you can't think of a more environmentally friendly plant than the tea plant is.
Harvesting tea on the plantation is continual and lasts for 6 or 7 months.
What you're looking for is 2 leaves and a bud is the ideal for making tea. Just this, and this grows up every 18 to 20 days depending on the weather. So we begin harvesting the 1st of May, and this harvest period runs through the end of October into the beginning of November depending on rain.
That continuous harvest is possible because of what Hall calls the American technology and ingenuity that led to the creation of the plantation's unique mechanical tea harvester, a machine that equals the production of about 500 workers on a similar-sized foreign tea farm.
And you can see the harvester is straddling the hedgerow, and what it's doing is just taking off the top leaves. Now what makes us different, and your question was, why aren't other people growing tea? Most of the tea around the world is harvested by hand. So a normal tea plantation our size would have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 workers in the field picking the leaves by hand. The average salary for a tea picker in other countries is about $2.50 a week salary. We couldn't find anyone in South Carolina. So that's why we have the harvester. So with American technology and know-how, we're able to harvest mechanically and compete with these countries that have a very cheap labor force.
The final processing of tea can produce one of 3 types: black, oolong, and green. Each comes from the same plant but is processed slightly differently. And while green tea is all the health rage across the country, Hall says when it comes to the health benefits of tea, it's all the same.
All the green, black, and oolong comes from this very same plant. Nothing is added to it, nothing is taken away from it. So green tea being healthy for you, so is black tea. It has the same amount of antioxidants.
But how do you get the biggest health benefits from a cup of hot tea? Hall says it all begins with boiling fresh cold water and using fresh tea leaves.
Always start with fresh cold water. Never hot water from the hot water tap. Reason is, tea, the more oxygen in the water, the more it enhances the flavor of the tea. So then you get the fresh cold water or distilled water or spring water and bring it to a good rolling boil. But don't let it boil too long or you boil all the oxygen out of the water. So that's why the saying says, bring the teapot to the kettle as opposed to the kettle to the teapot. You pour the water on the tea. Never put the tea in the hot water. The reason that is don't forget I said that this leaf is curled in, reduced to 2% moisture. In order to get the full opening of the leaf, you need to pour the water on the tea and then brew it to your desired strength.
Hall says that's usually about a minute or a little more per cup. And what about making iced tea?
And really for iced tea, it's not too complicated. You just pour it over ice.
So the next time you're in the Charleston area, make sure to visit the Charleston Tea Plantation, open for tours every Wednesday through Sunday. And if we've made you thirsty for a tall, cold glass or steeping hot cup of American classic tea, it's just as far away as your computer. Log on to charlestonteaplantation.com for ordering and shipping information. We hope you've enjoyed your visit to the tea plantation, learning more about how tea is produced. Of course, we're talking about picnics and tailgates, and we want to bring you our regular cooking segment. Donna Bundrick Griffin from W.P. Rawl & Sons Farms is going to cook up fresh vegetables and show you how to prepare those and put them on the grill, right for any picnic or tailgating opportunity.
Welcome. I'm Donna Bundrick Griffin, and I'm Marketing and Promotions Coordinator with W.P. Rawl & Sons Company here in Pillion, South Carolina. I want to introduce you to some wonderful recipes using our versatile veggies today. We are showing a cheesy chicken with pico de gallo, which is absolutely wonderful. It's grill out season, so what are we doing? We're grilling out. Also, we are showing a mixed grill vegetable medley. Wonderful grilling recipes. Now for this chicken with pico de gallo. Now we have grilled 2 chicken breasts on our Jen Air here, and we will just simply transfer these grilled chicken breasts to a plate. You can see the grill marks, and one thing about grilling chicken, you need to make sure that it is thoroughly done. And now we're just going to spoon some pico de gallo over it. It comes off the grill, spoon this over. This is absolutely wonderful. I failed to mention it's great when you serve it with corn chips. So this is a multi-use product. And now we're going to put a little bit of mozzarella cheese on the top. Doesn't that look good? It is just so yummy. You have your chicken, your protein, and also your veggies all in one, quick and simple. Now let's move over to this grilled vegetable medley. This is a wonderful, wonderful recipe using our fajita mix as well as a smaller container of pico de gallo. We are using our 10-ounce package of fajita mix, and to this we're going to add a small container of pico de gallo. And again, this is our 8-ounce container of pico de gallo. We want to make sure these vegetables are mixed well together. We're going to put in 2.5 cups of fresh corn. 2.5 cups of fresh corn. Now that's going to cook on the grill. And we'll simply mix these veggies together. Put in about 2 teaspoons of dried basil. Now you can use a fresh if you want. If you are using fresh, you would want to use about a tablespoon and a half of fresh basil. We'll transfer it to heavy-duty aluminum foil. We're going to transfer half of this to 1 portion. Okay, and now we'll put some melted butter over the top. We'll just spoon a little melted butter over the top, and you can use as much as you want. I recommend about 2 tablespoons full, but if you want to use more, let your discretion be your guide. Now we will simply roll these up, the foil packets up, and then we will place them on the grill. And there we have our grilled mixed vegetable medley. I hope you've enjoyed being with us tonight. It's been a pleasure being with you. If you want these and other recipes using not only our versatile veggies, but our value-added products, you can visit our website at www.raw.net. Again, a pleasure to visit with you. From our kitchen to yours, bon appetit.
South Carolina juicy peach. It doesn't get much better than that. You know, South Carolina is the nation's 2nd largest peach producer, second only to California, even though Georgia claims to be the peach state. But you know, none of these peaches or fresh fruits and vegetables would be available without the pollination from bees. But there's a problem right now with the bee population around the country. Colonies are dying from farm to farm to farm. But researchers at one of South Carolina's land-grant colleges, Clemson University, are working to find a solution, working to find a cure to keep those bees alive.
Everything from almonds to apples to avocados depends on the insect I'm holding in my hand. Apis mellifera. You might call it the domesticated honeybee. Trouble is, this one's dead. And thousands others are dying and disappearing all over the world. Since the 1950s, bees have been on the decline. Scientists don't know why.
Mike Hood is a professor of entomology who's been following colony collapse since 2007.
What do we know?
Well, Peter, there's a lot that we have discovered that we don't know. A lot more questions than we have answers for. When bees fly from a colony, they can work a very large area. We're talking about square miles. So you can't go out and collect these dead bees and do an autopsy on them. You have to deal with what is left behind in the colony, which is sometimes you don't have a whole lot to work with.
Despite the problems inherent in studying bees, researchers like Dr. Hood are committed to finding answers. But will it be soon enough? Since 2006, some commercial beekeepers have lost 90% of their colonies, and that's only the beginning of the story.
Many people think of honeybees, they think of the value of the honey. But really the value of the honeybee, our most beneficial insect, is their pollination. Now in South Carolina, we grow crops like watermelons, cantaloupe, squash, apples, cucumbers. All those crops are heavily dependent on honeybees for pollination. Without them, we couldn't produce anywhere near the amount that we do.
One solution Dr. Hood has developed is a trap that helps control the small hive beetle, a common predator.
It's a simple little device where it's got 3 compartments and has a lid. And what we do is we just attach the lid to the box. We load this with cider vinegar. Cider vinegar is an attractant to the small hive beetle, or they're attracted to it. Now also in the side compartments we put mineral oil, food grade mineral oil, which when the beetles go into the box, they're attracted to the vinegar. They also get the oil on their little feet and they can't escape out the entrance.
The trap I can see working for beekeepers and the people in the business. Is there anything people can do at home in their yards to help encourage bee recovery?
Through development, urban spread, or urban development, we have eliminated a lot of the honeybees' natural habitat or foraging area. And due to that, they have a shortage of food many times. So when you have that, you're going to have a shortage of bees in the area. Anything that you can do to improve the availability of food for bees, such as trees which bloom or provide pollen for the bees, forage, clover, other plants are very good for the bees. Anytime you buy a pesticide, before you use it, read the directions. It has instructions on there. If it is harmful to honeybees, it will have a protection statement, honeybee protection statement, right there, right before you. The problem is most people do not read directions. They will use a product without reading all the directions.
Oh, hi. We are coming to you from the Columbia State Farmers Market, and of course there's really not much you cannot buy as a consumer out here, in addition to their huge wholesale market. We want to take this opportunity with our Palmetto Portrait to show you just some of the variety available to consumers across the state. Well, that concludes South Carolina's installment of Farm Bureau's Voices of Agriculture. Thank you for joining us for our tour of the tea plantation in Charleston, learning a little bit more about the Columbia State Farmers Market and what's available to consumers, as well as the problems with the bee population around the state and around the nation. If you'd like to learn more about these stories or more, please log into our website, www.scfb.org. That's www.scfb for South Carolina Farm Bureau.org. I'm your host, Reggie Hall. Thanks for joining us.